I'm
Hi.
Jasleni. I'm here with Crystal and Paige, and we're talking about Crystal's book that's coming out really, really soon. How are you ladies today?
So well. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah,
Good to see you too.
yeah, it's nice to chat. So there's a lot of excitement in the air. The book is coming out this summer. We've been working really hard on it, and we figured we would just chit chat so that all of you watching this video can get some insight into the making of the book. So I'm here with the author, Crystal, and Paige, who helped with the copy, writing, editing, content, making sense of it all, making sure that it all sounded really good. Paige, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role in the book?
Awesome. Okay, so my dear friend Crystal has been writing for a while. It's been a passion of hers, and I I get enjoyment from helping things to look good on paper. So I like editing, and I've done, some editing for friends just for fun, like literally for fun. And so Crystal was, let me help her edit some of her pieces that were published, her travel pieces that were published. So she says, I've been writing this children's book. Would you look at it? And I said, sure. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the book. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters, with the ideas. And it was just so exciting. So, I did what I do, and then I gave her some notes, and then she shared it with me, and truly, when I first even heard about the story, I'm an early childhood educator. I've been in early childhood education for over 30 years. And so I know the value of quality children's literature and children's literature that has a social, emotional, community building foundation, and that is great for kids and also interesting and exciting for adults. And I said, Crystal, you've got something here. This isn't just a sweet little story. This is important. And that's how I got that's how I jumped on that train.
So beautifully said. Crystal, what has it been like for you working with Paige and editing the story? I know that editing is a huge part of the writing process.
I think editing is probably the biggest part of the writing process. I read a lot of books about writing, and one thing I learned is you write and then you edit about 1,000 times, and you can continue to edit. And it's fun working with Paige. We work really, when we work the best is when we're sitting side by side, and like these ideas pop off of each other, and she'll challenge, certain, well, is this really what this character would say? What would this character speak like? And is this true to this character? Or just, I can't even remember some of the conversations. We had some really, really good conversations throughout the whole process. And just really sitting with the story and making it like, I had the rough draft of the story, and then Paige came in and would take what was written and say, how can we say this in a different way? How can we add more meaning? How can we shift this? And as I read the story now, I can hear Paige's voice in rewording something to where it's just very beautiful. And I wouldn't have been able to, the story wouldn't have been what it is without, it would have been a sweet story. Paige took something that was very sweet and added it to a completely other level that I would have been able to do by myself. And it was just so important to have that process. And the other part that Paige does, yes, she's a content editor, and she's a friend, and she's the early childhood development, where I would say, is this word too big for kids? So, and she would explain to me, this is how children learn vocabulary. This is how you word it so that they understand. And this just had so much information about childhood development. And that piece, but also because we're friends, and I have a tendency, I think I've said this in one of my interviews with you, Jasleni, is like, let's dive off the high dive. And as I'm going down, going towards the water, it's like, I wonder if I should have checked the depth first, because that's how I live my life. I jump and like, uh-oh. And then Paige is going, come back. And, this is like, okay, Chris, let's take a deep breath. Think about this for a minute. And right? And so many times where I'm like, okay, let's go, and pulling me back in and taking time to make decisions that I'm like, even like with the illustrations, that was really Paige that said, something's not sitting with you. I know these illustrations are beautiful, but you're not in love. And I can tell you're not in love. It's kind of like that best friend telling you about the guy that you're kind of like, but you're not really into, like he looks good on paper, but something's wrong. And she was able to say, yeah, these are beautiful, but there's something missing for you. And I know that. And so we've got to figure it out. And that was ours of figuring out with you, Paige, and figuring out with you, Jasleni. So that is the other piece that Paige provides me, is just the sound of reason. And hey, let's stop and think about this for a minute. Mm-hmm. And, I just did my initial reading to a group of elementary school students. Like, hey, Paige, can you read the story for me? Because I don't know how to read. And she's like, no, you're the author, you read it. And this is how you read a children's story. And there's a science, there's not a science to it, but there's an art to it, to reading a children's story, so that the children become captivated and engaged. So those are some of the pieces that Paige does beyond the written page.
Yeah, I'm curious, Paige, if you can talk a little bit more about that, because Crystal, obviously you know how to read, right? But how do you, Paige, can you tell us a little bit about how do you do that to really engage the kids?
Sure. And in fact, I'm going to respond to that, but I want to make something very clear. Very early on, the question I asked Crystal was, or the challenge I gave you was, show me, don't tell me.
Mm.
And what happened with that one piece of guidance is that we walked on the path together. Show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. And what happened is these sweet characters came fully alive. And I just want to be very clear that happened, Crystal, because that came from you. But we were able to sit in that space together and really start to hear Charlie and to hear Gracie and hear Hope as distinct characters that really have lives. And we now know what they sound like. And that wanted to make sure to give
Thank
that
you.
back.
And you're right that the show me, don't tell me, because I would write something and you'd come back, show me, don't tell me. Mm-hmm. Okay, how do I show this? How do I show this? And you're right. And now that has become such a part of the writing piece that I forget. But that we struggled with that. It's like, show me, you got to show me. This isn't showing me. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it's so beautiful now. Mm-hmm. So how do you read to children? Well, first of all, it's important that the adult be engaged in the story. And it's hard to manufacture engagement. I once had a kid say, and they lived happily ever, and the prince kissed the princess and they lived happily ever after. And a kid said, Paige, why does your voice sound like that at the end of the book? And I wasn't aware of it because I didn't buy it. But if you're into the story, then you start feeling it. So that's one thing for adults, is be engaged and involved. Second of all, doing character voices. They don't have to be great voices. We don't have to be actors or actresses. But we can find the way characters speak in our own bodies and start to really feel them and embody them. And then and then engage the kids. One of the things that Crystal did, which was awesome, is that she asked them to help cheer Hope on. And I'm not going to give any spoilers in this interview, but place where Hope needs some support, and she engaged the students to do that. And it was awesome. It was really fun.
And I know that happened recently where you got together and read the book to Paige, to your class, right? Before the book has even been released. What was that like, to be able to share that sneak peek into the book?
Well, I'll tell you from my end. First of all, I am so excited about this book, and I'm so excited for my friend. I'm proud of you, Crystal. I'm excited for me and for the work we've done together. And but mostly I'm so excited to get this book into the hands of kids. And it was wonderful to see them respond and to hear them respond to for them to laugh at the places where there was laughter, for the depth of questions that they came back with. Their questions, some of which would be spoiler questions, but for example, why is it that somebody was responding negatively to a character? Why did the character have fear about something? These things, these deep questions about life that Cristal is able to really crystallize and make real for kids, and give them a platform to talk about important questions that come up in real life, in their lives. It really showed me the worth and value of the work that Cristal's doing.
Thank you. And for me, like, we all read the book, and I've had different friends read the manuscript, and the grown-ups love it, right? Oh, this is such a great book. But do the kids love it? We don't know. I didn't read it to any children. And so it was great. Like, here's our pilot audience. We'll see if the kids like it, because maybe they'll be like, this is dumb, this is boring, but so the book has layers of meaning and layers of lessons and nuggets of just nuggets and layers of it. And so at the end, the kids were doing an author question answer thing. I think the intent for the classes page, right, was to ask these authors, what was the process? You're not really, maybe you haven't written a lot in your life. You're a new author. What did you do? How long did it take you to write this? What was how did you pick an illustrator? And those were the questions I was expecting. But the questions that children had were the questions that I'm wanting them to ask for each of the lessons. Like, they were getting, why, like, good, you're getting it. Like, they were getting the lessons along with the whole story. They were like really engaged in what was this character feeling, and why was this character feeling that, and what's going on with this character. And yeah, so that was exciting.
I want to add
One
to
of
that.
the teachers was talking to me and said,
Paige, pardon me, go ahead. What were you saying?
one of the teachers came to me and she said, and Cristal didn't even touch on like half of the things that she has in there. It's just so rich. So yeah, that was something that came up more recently as we were talking about the experience.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good segue to what I was going to say, is that we're going to be adding resources to Cristal's website, operationtransformationbooks.com. And there you're going to be able to find not just where you can purchase the book and all the goodies that go along with the book, but also find resources to help you make the most out of the book, questions and other tools that you can use so that you can engage the kids that you're reading the book with. So just wanted to throw that in there.
And I think that's so important, Jasleni, because teachers, parents, grandparents, people who love children, people who spend time with children, people who want the best for children are always looking for a tool to help foster growth and development, to help foster strong kids, resilient kids, thoughtful kids, compassionate kids, and to give a foundation for helping to teach those things in a way that's fun and engaging. And I believe that this book is a valuable tool that's coming into the world as a resource for people who love and care for kids.
Yeah. It's been so nice to speak to both of you and to share this little behind the scenes of the making of the book. I'm going to be adding, if you're interested in working with Peige, look for her link of where you can work with her, and certainly where you can learn more about Cristal and the book. Before we wrap up, do either one of you want to share a piece of advice of how we can keep raising the vibration of this planet one person at a time? And I ask that because I know that's at the core of Cristal's mission with this book, with her therapy, with all the offerings that she provides.
While you're thinking, Paige, I would say one thing is to laugh at least once a day, because when you laugh, the energy behind that laughter is an automatic higher vibration. And sometimes, you know, if we're not laughing every day, you know, maybe there's something we can find to make us laugh, like even watching a silly kitty video or something to laugh at least once a day.
I love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
And mine would be read a book with a kid or read a kid's book. Because there's a world of beautiful art and beautiful literature in 7-minute chunks, 10-minute chunks, just out there waiting for us to take a breath, take a moment, drink a cup of tea. If you can't do it with a kid,
do it by yourself.
Just do it on your own.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn about the book, again, check out operationtransformationbooks.com. We'll have lots of updates for you there. So please sign up for Crystal's newsletter. Thank you both so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.